You are here, now, not then. A utopia is a place that does not exist but could. It exists in people's dreams and hopes and is the goal of activities aimed at its creation. From the Garden of Eden to Plato's Republic and Thomas More's island city of Utopia, visions of a perfectly organised society only exist on paper. In the modern era, when dreams of the ideal city began to be realised, it was often found that perfection on the surface did not always mean perfection beneath the surface. And so utopia became dystopia. Vesely, 2016. Net curtains, sunlight in the distance, a child wheels past on her bicycle, a barrier blocks your way. New, self-contained, boxy balconies grow skywards, emerging from the fresh yellow brickwork. The subtext is that as the architecture changes, so do the people. Bush, 2016. For whom is space being created? Building a fairer future for all on the Aylesbury. Southwark Council and Notting Hill Housing, 2016. Southwark Council lies. Anonymous, 2016. The challenge of the negotiation of place is shockingly unequal, and the politics, economics and cultures of space, through white flight, through gated communities, through the class polarising geographies of market relations, are actively used in the production of that inequality. We come to each place with the necessity, the responsibility, to examine anew and to invent. Massey, 2005. Repeating forms. Autumn turns the leaves yellow. Another season, another cycle, a seductive pattern. Could it be that our idea of what a home is has changed? That it is less a basic human right, more something we earn the right to, an asset we manage, as well as a place we live in? Brooke, 2016. The grey backbone of the Aylesbury snakes alongside many other homes. Front doors of purpose-built Victorian masonettes nestle quietly together on shared doorsteps. Low-rise red brick estates squat solidly nearby. A patchwork of places, mountains and barrage blocks, glossy, distant, fantastical. Ideas hang off buildings. As the decades pass and the council homes of the 1950s, 60s and 70s grow into the urban landscape, as their brick and concrete weathers, as the original intentions of architects become unexpectedly visible to a new generation, they are beginning to look like more attractive places to live. Meek, 2014. We are surrounded by the anonymous buildings of our common modernity. These buildings are often indistinguishable from one another. This is only at first glance, of course. If we look closer, we see that no window, balcony or white wall is alike. Boyd, 2008. It, the right to buy, was Britain's biggest privatisation by far, worth some 40 billion in its first 25 years. But the money earned from selling Britain's vast national investment in housing, an investment made at the expense of other pressing needs by a poor country recovering from war, was sucked out of housing forever. Meek, 2014. It can be quite disconcerting, I think, to recognise just how fast this has happened, to acknowledge that high modernist forms have become historical ones. By this I mean we can no longer fully identify with them, as they belong to a different time, to a different knowledge, and finally, of course, to a different ambition. Lewis, 2006. Why demolish spaces when they are okay? TRA Rep 2011, quoted by Lees 2013. Daylight illuminates the walkway, offering escape to the floor above. Double height pillars calmly dominate the foreground, cutting through the frame. Place is accident posing as politics, and vice versa. Therefore, it is tragic and big. Robertson, 2003. In the early 20th century, the vision of a future society, unbelievably rich, leisured, orderly and efficient, a glittering antiseptic world of glass and steel and snow-white concrete, was part of the consciousness of nearly every literate person. Orwell, 1949. Capitalism is a force, but it's not gravity. It is a social urge. As we wrestle to understand it, we must recognise that capitalism is not a remote and chilly elite or an external force at all. The urge to collect, to consume, to acquire what is of value is within us all. Dwyer, 2016. The pigeon looks at me inquisitively. What are you doing here? Why the lampshade? By making things strange, the artist does not simply displace them from an everyday context into an artistic framework. He also helps to return sensation to life itself, to reinvent the world, to allow the observer to experience it anew. Boyd, 2008. Mock Tudor beams adjacent to threatened modernist concrete. Faux War of the Roses triumphant versus failed European modernism, viewed through a post-Brexit folk gaze. It's not rose-tinted. Then came the film, with the close-up, space expands. With slow motion movement is extended. The enlargement of a snapshot does not simply render more precise what in any case was visible though unclear. It reveals entirely new structural formations of the subject. Benjamin, 1968. Blocks move in and out. Time passes. The power of imagery to construct narratives around place, and the politics of paper. We believe that the reasons for wanting total demolition of the Aylesbury were political, not structural. TRA Rep 2011, quoted by Lees, 2013. But the human need for shelter is lasting. Architecture has never been idle. Its history is more ancient than that of any other art, and its claim to being a living force has significance in every attempt to comprehend the relationship of the masses to art. Buildings are appropriated in a twofold manner, by use and by perception, or rather, by touch and sight. Benjamin, 1968. Modernist forms, seductive, beautiful, functional, fading. Sometimes when you pick up a pencil, all you do is prove you are here. Kovacs, 2014.